Your mind is a prison. A prison that you built, brick by brick. The bars are your worries about the future. The walls are your regrets about the past. The chains are your obsession with things you cannot control, the opinions of others, the chaos of the world, the outcomes of your efforts. You are a slave to things that do not care about you. There is a key to this prison. It is an ancient and powerful philosophy. It is the law of detachment. This audiobook will give you that key. The escape begins now. Chapter 1, The Circle of Your Control, Your Only Kingdom. Let us begin with a fundamental truth. Your life, as you are living it, is not your own. You are a slave. But you have no external master. There are no chains on your wrists. Your enslavement is a product of a single, catastrophic error in judgment. You have wasted your entire life trying to control things that are not yours to command. The ancient philosophers knew a secret that has been forgotten. The secret is this: the universe is divided into two, and only two, domains. The things that are within your control, and the things that are not. Your freedom, your power, and your peace of mind are determined entirely by your ability to see the hard line between these two domains, and to never, ever cross it. This chapter is the map. It will show you the borders of your own, true kingdom. The only place where you are the absolute sovereign. First, let us survey the vast, chaotic, and uncontrollable domain. This is the world outside of you. It is almost everything. The weather is not in your control. The economy is not in your control. The traffic on the highway is not in your control. What other people think of you is not in your control. What other people say, and what other people do, is not in your control. The past is completely and utterly outside of your control. The future, in its ultimate form, is outside of your control. The final outcome of your hardest efforts is outside of your control. This is the foreign land. And you have spent your life as a worried, meddling tyrant, trying to impose your will upon it. This is why you are stressed. This is why you are anxious. This is why you are angry. You are fighting a war you are mathematically guaranteed to lose. Now, let us look at your kingdom. The domain of the controllable. It is laughably small. But within its borders, your power is absolute. It contains only two things. Your own thoughts. And your own actions in this present moment. That is it. That is the entirety of your kingdom. Your opinions, your judgments, your decisions, your effort. This is the only place you can exercise any real power. It's not about being powerless, it's about focusing your power where it can actually have an effect. Let us watch this principle in action, in the most common of modern prisons. The traffic jam. The amateur, the slave, is sitting in his car. It is a cage of his own misery. He grips the steering wheel until his knuckles are white. His blood pressure is rising. He is cursing the other drivers. He is obsessively checking the time. His entire being, his every thought and every emotion, is focused on the vast, uncontrollable domain. The movement of the cars. The passage of time. The appointment he is now late for. He is at war with reality, and reality is winning. He is suffering. Now, let us look at the professional. The king. He is in the exact same car, in the exact same traffic jam. The external circumstances are identical. But his internal experience is a world apart. He begins by acknowledging the objective reality, without judgment. I am in traffic. I will be late. This is a fact, not a tragedy. Then, he immediately withdraws his attention from the foreign land of the uncontrollable and returns to his own kingdom. He asks the only question that matters: what, in this moment, is within my control? The cars are not. The time is not. But his breath is. So he takes one, slow, deliberate breath. His posture is. So he sits up straight, releasing the tension in his shoulders. The audio environment in his car is. So he puts on an audiobook or a piece of music that will serve his mind. The amateur is a prisoner, tortured by a reality he cannot change. The professional is a philosopher in his study, using a moment of stillness for his own benefit. The external event is the same. The internal choice of where to place your focus is the difference between a private hell and a private sanctuary. That's the key. For your entire life, you have been abdicating your own throne. You are the rightful sovereign of your own mind, yet you have abandoned your kingdom to go and rage about the affairs of a foreign land. You are trying to command the rain while the weeds overtake your own garden. Your first, last, and only duty is to return to your throne. To stop obsessing over what the world is doing, what others are doing, what your past has done. You must bring your focus back to the only two things that will ever matter: what you are thinking, and what you are doing, right now. You have a choice. You can be a powerless peasant, begging the chaotic world to bend to your will. Or you can be the absolute king or queen of your own inner state. You don't need their permission to reclaim your mind. Your power ends where your control ends. Act accordingly. This is the first and final law. You will now draw a hard, bright, and sacred line in your mind. On one side, the uncontrollable world. On the other, your kingdom. You will vow to become the vigilant guardian of this border. You will no longer waste a single thought, a single breath, or a single joule of emotional energy on the things you cannot change. This intellectual understanding is the map that shows you the way out of your prison. But the map is not the territory. The greatest source of your suffering is not even the external, uncontrollable world itself. It is the terrifying, fictional, and catastrophic worlds you build inside your own head. That is the subject of our next chapter. Chapter 2, You Suffer Most in Imagination. Chapter 2, You Suffer Most in Imagination. You have drawn the line. You have seen the map. You now understand the small, sacred circle of your control, the only kingdom where you have any true power. But there is a traitor within that kingdom. A ghost in your own machine that generates more pain, more anxiety, and more suffering than the external world ever could. That ghost is your own imagination. The truth is this: you are the author of your own misery. The vast majority of the suffering you experience in your life is not a result of your reality. It is the result of the catastrophic, terrifying, and fictional stories that you tell yourself about that reality. You are not being crushed by the weight of the world. You are being crushed by the weight of your own thoughts. Your mind is a story-making machine. It abhors a vacuum. Faced with the uncertainty of the future, it does not wait for the facts. It writes fiction. And because your brain's primary directive is not to make you happy, but to keep you alive, the stories it writes are almost always horror stories. It defaults to the worst-case scenario. It is a primitive survival mechanism, designed to keep you safe from predators in a forgotten world. Today, this mechanism is the engine of your anxiety. You are not worried about what is. You are worried about a story you have told yourself about what might be. It's not about being a pessimist, it's about having an untrained imagination. You are allowing the most primitive part of your brain to be the author of your life. Let us watch this author at work. Let us observe the common hell of the big presentation. The objective reality is simple. Next Tuesday, you will stand in a conference room and speak for 30 minutes. You will present information using a set of slides. Those are the facts. That is the neutral, physical event. Now, let us observe the imagined suffering. Let us read the horror story your mind writes about this neutral event. The story begins tonight, a full week before the presentation. You are lying in bed, unable to sleep. Your mind is playing a movie. In the movie, you are at the podium, and you forget your words. Your mind goes blank. Your equipment fails. Your boss is staring at you with a look of profound disappointment. Your colleagues are smirking, whispering to each other about your incompetence. The feeling is one of white-hot public humiliation. This movie plays on a loop, night after night. By the time Tuesday arrives, you have already lived through the disaster 100 times. You have spent a week in a state of anxiety, stress, and fear. You have suffered immensely. And not a single real thing has happened yet. Do you see the truth? Your week of suffering had nothing to do with the 30-minute event. It was caused entirely by the fictional story you chose to believe. You were tortured by a phantom. You were held captive by a ghost of your own creation. You gave a story more power than reality. That's the key. The event is neutral. Your story about it is the poison. The art of detachment is the art of becoming a ruthless editor of these internal stories. It is the discipline of separating the cold, hard facts from the hot, emotional fiction your mind creates. This is the discipline of the objective eye. This is your new protocol. When you feel the familiar churn of worry and anxiety, you will stop. You will not be a passive audience to your mind's horror movie. You will become the director. First, you will isolate the facts. You will ask yourself, what do I know for a fact, right now, to be true? The facts are that you have a presentation on Tuesday. The facts are that you have work to do to prepare. The story that you will fail is not a fact. It is fiction. Second, you will identify the fiction. You will label the story for what it is. You will say to yourself, my mind is now telling me the story of public humiliation. This is what it does. This is its programming. It is not a prophecy. It is just a story. Third, you will return to your kingdom. The story of your failure next week is a journey into the uncontrollable land of the future. You have no power there. Your only power is in your circle of control, in this present moment. And what is in your circle, right now? Your effort. Your preparation. You have a choice. You can spend the next hour suffering inside a fictional catastrophe, or you can spend it practicing your speech and improving your slides. You can choose to be a victim of your imagination, or you can choose to be an architect of your preparation. You don't need their permission from your own feelings of fear to get to work. The event is neutral. Your story about it is the poison. Let this be your new mantra. Burn it into your mind. The next time you feel that familiar dread, stop. Separate the event from the story. Acknowledge the fiction. And then, return to the work that is in front of you. Return to your kingdom. This is the second law of detachment. First, you draw the circle of your control. Second, you stop telling yourself horror stories about what lies outside of it. You now understand how your imagination tortures you with visions of a future you cannot control. But there is another, more subtle way that your mind creates suffering. It is not just in the future you fear, but in the future you demand. It is in the stories you tell yourself about what should happen. It is in the crushing, heavy, and fragile burden of your own expectations. That is the subject of our next chapter. Chapter 3, The Crushing Weight of Your Expectations. Chapter 3, The Crushing Weight of Your Expectations. You are learning to control your mind. You have drawn the circle of your control, your own true kingdom. You have learned to stop torturing yourself with the horror stories your imagination writes about the future. You are becoming the editor of your own thoughts. But there is a second, more subtle, and more pervasive form of mental fiction that is poisoning your life. It is not the story of what you fear will happen. It is the story of what you believe should happen. These are your expectations. And every single expectation you place on the uncontrollable world is a premeditated resentment. It is a seed of suffering that you, yourself, have planted, and that you will inevitably have to harvest. An expectation is a contract that you have written in your own mind, that the other party has not signed. You have a contract that says traffic should be clear. You have a contract that says your boss should appreciate your hard work. You have a contract that says the world should be fair. You have a contract that says other people should act the way you want them to act. No one else has signed these contracts. And when reality, as it always does, fails to honor the terms of your private, fictional agreement, you are filled with a sense of righteous anger and disappointment. You believe that reality is at fault. The truth is, your expectation was the original error. You are living in a fantasy world of your own construction, and then getting angry when the real world refuses to play along. It's not about having no standards, it's about having disciplined thoughts. Let us observe this self-inflicted suffering in a simple, common scenario, the forgotten birthday. The amateur, the person who lives a life of attachment, has an unspoken expectation. My close friend should remember my birthday and send me a message. This is the contract they have written in their mind. The day arrives. They check their phone in the morning. Nothing. They check it at lunch. Nothing. As the day wears on, a knot of disappointment tightens in their stomach. The story begins to form, they forgot. They don't really care about me. I am not important to them. By the end of the day, their birthday has been ruined, and a seed of resentment has been planted in their friendship. They are hurt. They are angry. And their pain is entirely the product of an expectation they placed on something outside of their control, another person's memory. Now, let us watch the professional. The practitioner of detachment. Their birthday arrives. They have no such expectation. They understand that their friend's mind, their priorities, and their memory are all in the foreign land of the uncontrollable. They go about their day in peace. If a message from their friend arrives, it is a pleasant surprise. They feel a genuine and pure sense of appreciation for the kind gesture. If no message arrives, there is no emotional wound. There is no story of being forgotten. There is no suffering. Their internal peace was never held hostage by their friend's actions in the first place. The first person's happiness was a pawn in a game they could not control. The second person's happiness was their own. That's the key. The detached person is free to appreciate the good when it happens, without being wounded by its absence. This is the discipline you must now adopt. You must become a ruthless detective of your own resentments. From this day forward, every time you feel the hot sting of anger, disappointment, or frustration, you will stop. You will not indulge the feeling. You will investigate it. You will trace it back to its source, and you will find, at the root of almost all of your negative emotions, a violated expectation. You are angry because you expected the world to be fair. You are disappointed because you expected someone to meet your standards. You are frustrated because you expected the path to be easy. Once you have identified the expectation, your task is to consciously and deliberately release it. You will perform a mental shift. You will replace your rigid demand with a flexible preference. I prefer that traffic is clear, but I accept that it may not be. I prefer that my work is praised, but I will not be disturbed if it is not. You have a choice. You can live your life as a judge, constantly issuing verdicts against a world that fails to meet your standards. Or you can live as a student, accepting the world as it is and learning from it. You don't need their permission to stop judging the world and start living in it. Trade your expectations for appreciation. This must become your new mantra. Instead of expecting things from the world, be grateful for what the world gives. Instead of expecting things from others, be grateful for what they offer. Stop demanding. Start appreciating. This is the only path to a stable and peaceful mind. Trade your expectations for appreciation. This practice of letting go, of releasing your tight, white-knuckled grip on the future, of not needing a specific response from the world, cultivates a new and powerful internal state. It is a state that the amateur, the attached person, will mistake for coldness or apathy. But it is not. It is a state of profound peace and clarity. It is the quiet, unshakable foundation of a mind that cannot be disturbed. It is the strategic and powerful state of indifference. That is the subject of our next chapter. Chapter 4, Indifference is your new superpower. Chapter 4, Indifference is your new superpower. You have begun the hard work of detachment. You have drawn the circle of your control. You have learned to edit the fictions of your imagination and to let go of your crushing expectations. As you walk this path, you will begin to cultivate a new internal state. It is a state that the chaotic, emotionally volatile world will misunderstand. It will be labeled as coldness, as apathy, as a lack of caring. They will be wrong. This state is indifference. And you must learn that it is not a weakness. It is a weapon. It is a shield. It is the quiet, unbreakable foundation of a peaceful and powerful mind. This chapter is about learning to wield your new superpower, strategic, chosen indifference. First, we must draw a hard line between the apathy of the slave and the indifference of the master. Apathy is the state of the defeated. It is the person who cares about nothing because they have given up. It is a sign of despair. It is a weakness. Strategic indifference is the opposite. It is the state of the focused and the powerful. It is the conscious, deliberate, and ruthless decision to give your emotional energy only to the things that are within your circle of control, and to give absolutely nothing to the things that are not. The master is not apathetic, they are hyper-focused. They care more deeply than anyone about the quality of their own actions and the state of their own mind. And they are ruthlessly, strategically indifferent to everything else. It's not about caring less, it's about caring better. Let us observe the superpower on the field of competition. Let us watch an athlete. The attached athlete lives on an emotional roller coaster. After a great performance, they go online and read all the praise. They are flooded with a sense of pride and validation. Their ego is inflated. After a bad performance, they read all the harsh criticism. They are devastated. Their confidence is shattered. Their internal state is a puppet, and the anonymous, faceless crowd is the puppeteer. The cheers make them arrogant. The boos make them break. Now, let us watch the professional. The one who has mastered indifference. After a great performance, they ignore the praise. They know that praise is a poison that can make them complacent and lazy. After a bad performance, they ignore the criticism. They know that criticism is a poison that can make them bitter and reactive. Their emotional state remains a calm, flat line. They are indifferent to the cheers, and they are indifferent to the boos. Both are irrelevant noise. Both are outside of their circle of control. The only things that matter are the objective, factual results of their performance, and the controllable actions of their next training session. Their indifference is not a sign that they do not care about winning. It is the very tool they use to win. It is the shield that protects their focus and their peace of mind from the chaos of the crowd. That's the key. This is the discipline you must now cultivate. The discipline of not caring. You will now perform an audit of your own attachments. You will create a not to care list. Take out a piece of paper, and you will list all the things outside of your control that you currently waste your precious emotional energy on. The daily news cycle. The political argument on the internet. What your colleague thinks of your new haircut. The fact that a stranger on the road was rude to you. Celebrity gossip. The stock market. This is your list of poisons. These are the things that you have allowed to disturb your peace, day after day. Your new practice is one of active dismissal. When one of these thoughts enters your mind, you will not engage with it. You will not argue with it. You will label it for what it is. This is irrelevant noise. And then you will consciously and deliberately redirect your focus to the one and only thing that matters, the task in front of you that is within your circle of control. You must also starve your emotions of the fuel they feed on. To become indifferent to the daily news cycle, you must stop consuming the daily news. To become indifferent to online arguments, you must stop participating in them. Your emotional state is a direct result of the information you choose to consume. You have a choice. You can feed your mind a constant diet of junk food, outrage, gossip, and fear, and live in a state of constant anxiety. Or you can starve your mind of that poison and cultivate a state of calm, powerful indifference. The less you care about what doesn't matter, the more power you have over what does. Burn this into your mind. This is the law of emotional conservation. Every ounce of energy you spend caring about something you cannot control is an ounce of energy that you cannot spend on the things you can. Every moment you spend in a state of anger about the world is a moment you are not spending on improving yourself. The less you care about what doesn't matter, the more power you have over what does. Indifference is your shield. It protects your internal peace from the random, chaotic, and meaningless events of the external world. You don't need their permission to stop caring about their drama. This practice of becoming indifferent to the things outside your control is a powerful defensive tool. It is the shield that makes you unflappable. But there is another, more advanced, and more counterintuitive discipline that builds detachment even faster. A discipline that goes beyond merely ignoring the external world. It is a discipline that requires you to actively imagine the loss of the things you do care about. That is the subject of our next chapter. Chapter 5, Practice the Art of Negative Visualization. Chapter 5, Practice the Art of Negative Visualization. You have learned to build a shield. The shield of strategic indifference. It is a powerful defense that protects your inner peace from the chaos of the external world, the praise, the criticism, the noise. But a shield is only a defensive tool. It is now time to learn a proactive, offensive, and profoundly counterintuitive discipline that will not only strengthen your detachment but also flood your life with a powerful sense of gratitude. This is the ancient art of negative visualization. On the surface, this practice will sound like the opposite of everything you have been taught. It sounds like pessimism. It sounds morbid, but it is one of the most powerful and effective mental exercises ever conceived. It is the secret weapon of the Stoic sages, and it will become a cornerstone of your new, unbreakable mind. First, you must understand the problem this practice is designed to solve. The problem is a disease of the mind called hedonic adaptation. It is the simple, biological fact that human beings are wired to take things for granted. The job you once dreamed of is now just work. The loving partner you once longed for is now just a familiar part of your routine. The health and vitality you possess are completely invisible to you until they are gone. You are walking through a garden of treasures, but you are blind to them. This blindness makes you fragile. The thought of losing the things you have is a source of constant, low-grade anxiety. And it makes you ungrateful. You derive no joy from what you possess, because you have forgotten its value. It's not about being a bad person, it's about having a normal, untrained brain. Negative visualization is the cure for this blindness. It is the act of deliberately, and in a controlled manner, rehearsing loss in your imagination. This is the protocol. It is a discipline you will practice for 60 seconds every single morning. You will sit in silence. You will close your eyes. And you will pick one thing in your life that you value. It could be your job. It could be your home. It could be your physical health. It could be your relationship with a person you love. And for 60 seconds, you will vividly and unflinchingly imagine that it is gone. Do not do this half-heartedly. Go there completely. Imagine opening the email that says your position has been eliminated. Feel that jolt of ice in your stomach. Imagine walking through the empty rooms of the house you just lost. Feel the ache of that loss. Imagine the doctor giving you a difficult diagnosis. Feel the terror of that uncertainty. Imagine the person you love is no longer in your life. Feel the profound, crushing weight of their absence. You will sit with this imagined suffering. You will not run from it. For 60 seconds, you will live in that reality. And then, you will open your eyes. In that moment, the moment you return to a reality where none of those things have happened, you will experience a feeling that is more powerful than any motivational speech. It is the feeling of profound, visceral, and overwhelming gratitude. Your job is no longer a burden, it is a gift of opportunity and stability. Your home is no longer just a building, it is a sanctuary of peace. Your health is no longer something you ignore, it is a priceless treasure. The person you love is not just a familiar presence, they are a miracle. The blindness is gone. You can see the garden again. This is the first reward of the practice. But there is a second, even more powerful benefit. You are building a psychological immune system. You are vaccinating your soul against the trauma of loss. By giving yourself small, controlled, and imagined doses of hardship, you are training your mind to endure it. If a real loss ever does occur, and it will, you will not be destroyed by it. You will not be meeting that pain for the first time. You will have rehearsed for it. You will be prepared. That's the key. To hold on to things more gratefully, practice letting them go. This is the great paradox of detachment. It is not about ceasing to care. It is about learning to care in a wiser, deeper, and more resilient way. The amateur clings to their possessions and relationships with a desperate, fearful grip. They are terrified of losing them. The professional, the practitioner, holds them lightly. They appreciate them deeply, every single day, precisely because they have practiced the reality of their impermanence. You have a choice. You can live your life in a state of numb entitlement, blind to your blessings and terrified of the future. Or you can live in a state of profound gratitude, appreciative of the present and prepared for anything. You don't need their permission to appreciate your own life. To hold on to things more gratefully, practice letting them go. This practice of detaching from outcomes, of rehearsing loss to appreciate the present, will begin to change the very engine of your motivation. You will no longer be driven by the desperate, grasping need to achieve a certain future. You will not be fueled by the loud, chaotic, and unreliable emotion of passion. Instead, you will begin to be guided by something quieter, something deeper, something internal and unbreakable. You will begin to act not from a need for a specific result, but from a commitment to a specific path. You will begin to act from purpose. That is the subject of our next chapter. Chapter 6, Act with Purpose, Not with Passion. Chapter 6, Act with Purpose, Not with Passion. You have begun the advanced work. You have learned to be indifferent to the noise of the world. You have learned the counterintuitive art of negative visualization to build resilience and gratitude. Your relationship with the uncontrollable world is changing. Now, we must turn our attention inward, to the very engine that drives your action. For your entire life, you have been given one piece of advice above all others: follow your passion. This is perhaps the most dangerous advice the modern world has to offer. You have been taught to worship passion, to see it as the ultimate fuel for a life of achievement and meaning. But what is passion? It is a feeling. It is a hot, loud, and explosive emotion. And like all emotions, it is volatile. It is unreliable. It is weather. And you cannot build a life on the foundation of the weather. Passion is inextricably linked to the external world. It is dependent on good news, on positive feedback, on visible signs of progress. It thrives on excitement and the promise of a glorious outcome. But when the boring work begins, when the setbacks arrive, when the outcome seems distant or uncertain, passion dies. It is a fair-weather friend. There is a superior fuel, a deeper, quieter, and more powerful source of energy. It is not an emotion. It is a commitment. It is purpose. It's not about being unemotional, it's about being unattached to your emotions. Passion is the emotional roller coaster of highs and lows that comes from being attached to the result. Purpose is the calm, steady, and unbreakable commitment to the process, regardless of the result. The detached individual does not follow their passion. They are guided by their purpose. Let us observe this critical distinction in a high-stakes arena. Let us watch two activists, both fighting for the same worthy cause. The first is the passionate activist. He is fueled by a powerful sense of righteous anger at injustice and an intoxicating hope for a quick, decisive victory. His energy is a bonfire. He is at every rally, his voice the loudest. He is a whirlwind of activity on social media. He is inspiring to watch. But his fuel source is tied to the outcome. When the movement suffers a major legal or political setback, his hope turns to despair. His energizing anger curdles into a draining, bitter resentment. The bonfire rages, and then it quickly burns out. He is gone within a year. Now, let us watch the second activist. The purposeful activist. Her energy is different. It is not a loud explosion, it is a quiet, slow-burning fire. It is not fueled by the hope of victory, nor by the rage at injustice. It is fueled by a simple, calm, internal, and unshakable knowledge: this is the right thing to do. She is not attached to the outcome. She is attached to the work. When she faces the same setback, she feels disappointment, but not the despair that breaks the spirit. Her reason for acting was never dependent on winning. Her reason for acting was to be on the right side of the fight. And so, she gets up the next day, and she does the work. And the day after that. And the day after that. She is not a firework. She is a lighthouse. She can do this for 50 years. The passionate activist's why was external, we must achieve this outcome. The purposeful activist's why was internal, I must do my part. The first is a hostage to the chaos of the world. The second is sovereign. That's the key. This is the discipline you must now cultivate. You must shift your focus from what excites you to what you believe is right. First, you must find your purpose. Stop asking the question, what am I passionate about? It is a weak question. Ask the hard question, what work is so important that I would do it even if I knew I was guaranteed to fail? That is a question of conviction. The answer to that question is your purpose. Second, you must focus on the process, not the prize. Your purpose is not a destination. It is the direction you are walking. The purposeful writer's job is not to become a bestseller, it is to write a true sentence, today. The purposeful athlete's job is not to win the championship, it is to train with integrity, today. Third, you must detach from the applause. A purpose is a quiet, internal contract with yourself. It does not require an audience. It does not need praise. Its reward is the action itself. You have a choice. You can be fueled by the loud, unreliable roar of the crowd, or you can be fueled by the quiet, steady hum of your own inner compass. You don't need their permission to live a life of conviction. Let purpose be your compass. Let passion be the weather. This is your new mode of operation. You will feel passion. You will feel excitement. You will feel anger. You will feel despair. These are just clouds passing in the sky. Let them come and let them go. They are the weather. They are not you. And they are not your guide. Your guide is the fixed, unchangeable, northern star of your purpose. Let purpose be your compass. Let passion be the weather. This internal compass is the source of your stability. It is what allows you to act with clarity and consistency, regardless of the chaos around you. It gives you the strength to navigate your own path. But the greatest test of your detachment, the greatest storm you will ever have to navigate, is not the chaos of world events. It is the chaos found in the hearts and minds of other people. That is your next mission. Chapter 7, Let Go of Other People, the Ultimate Liberation. Chapter 7, Let Go of Other People, the Ultimate Liberation. You are making progress. You have learned to be the master of your own mind, to detach from your imagination and your expectations. You are learning to be guided by a quiet, internal purpose, not the chaotic weather of passion. But now we arrive at the final, highest, and most difficult frontier of detachment. We arrive at the source of your most profound suffering, and therefore, your greatest opportunity for liberation. We must now talk about other people. Your entire life, you have been engaged in a futile, exhausting, and destructive war. The war to control other people. You may not call it that. You may call it helping. You may call it caring. You may call it love. But at its root, it is a desperate, ego-driven attempt to make the uncontrollable world of other human beings conform to your will. This is the source of your most bitter resentments, your deepest anxieties, and your most painful relationships. You must accept a fundamental and absolute truth. The thoughts, the feelings, the choices, and the actions of other people are completely, and forever, outside of your circle of control. They are the ultimate uncontrollables. To try and control them is the definition of insanity. To let them go is the definition of freedom. This attempt to control often comes from a place of good intentions. You want what is best for your partner, your child, your friend. You want to protect them from making what you perceive to be mistakes. But these good intentions are a form of tyranny. It is the arrogance of believing that you know what is best for another sovereign human being. This dynamic creates a toxic prison for both of you. Your own peace of mind becomes a hostage, entirely dependent on their compliance with your wishes. And they, in turn, begin to resent you for your constant judgment, your unsolicited advice, and your suffocating attempts to live their life for them. It's not about being uncaring, it's about having the discipline to respect their sovereignty. Let us observe this dynamic in the most emotionally charged arena of all. The relationship between a parent and an adult child. The attached parent is consumed by worry. They are worried about their child's career path, their choice of romantic partner, their lifestyle. Their mind is a constant storm of what-ifs. This worry manifests as control. They offer a constant stream of unsolicited advice. They express their disappointment and disapproval, either directly or through passive aggression. They are in a state of perpetual anxiety, because their own emotional well-being is completely tied to their child's choices, which are firmly outside of their control. The relationship is defined by tension, obligation, and resentment. Now, let us observe the detached parent. The professional. Their love for their child is just as deep. Their concern is just as real. But they have drawn a hard, bright line at the border of their own kingdom. They understand, with absolute clarity, that their child's life is their own to live, and their child's mistakes are their own to make. The detached parent's job is not to control the outcome. Their job is to control their own actions. So, what do? They offer a loving, stable, and non-judgmental presence. They offer advice, but only when it is explicitly asked for. They create a safe harbor that their child can return to, without fear of judgment or lectures. They offer their love and support, unconditionally. Their love is not a tool to manipulate their child's behavior. It is a gift, freely given. The result is a relationship built on a foundation of trust, respect, and freedom. It is infinitely stronger and healthier for both people. That's the key. The first parent tried to control their child and, in the end, controlled nothing. The second parent controlled only themselves, and in doing so, created the space for a real relationship to flourish. This is the protocol of relinquishment you must now apply to all of your relationships. First, you will identify the person in your life you are most desperately trying to fix or control. Second, you will draw the line. You will take out a piece of paper and draw a line down the middle. On one side, you will list what you can control, your words, your actions, the love you offer, the example you set. On the other side, you will list what you cannot control, their decisions, their feelings, their habits, their life path. Third, you will make a vow of non-interference. You will vow to keep your energy and your opinions on your side of that line. This means no more unsolicited advice. No more manipulative emotional appeals. No more passive-aggressive comments. No more trying to live their life for them. Fourth, you will pivot back to your own kingdom. Every single time you feel the urge to worry about them, to judge them, or to try and control them, you will use that as an immediate trigger to ask yourself, what work needs to be done in my own life right now? Am I living up to my own standards? You must become more concerned with your own character than with the characters of others. Your responsibility is your action, not their reaction. This is the ultimate liberation. When you grant others the freedom to be who they are, you grant yourself freedom from the crushing burden of their choices. You have a choice. You can be the warden of another person's life, a job that will bring you nothing but misery. Or you can be the sovereign of your own. You don't need their permission to let them go. Your responsibility is your action, not their reaction. This principle of focusing only on your own actions is the core of a powerful and peaceful life. It is the key to healthy relationships. And it is also the key to effective and meaningful work. The final piece of tactical detachment is to apply this same logic not just to your relationships with people, but to your relationship with your own goals. It is time to learn how to separate your work from its results. That is our next mission, in Chapter 8, Separate Effort from Outcome, How to Win by Losing. Chapter 8, Separate Effort from Outcome, How to Win by Losing. You have learned to detach from the uncontrollable chaos of the world and the unbearable weight of other people's choices. You are learning to operate from a place of calm, internal purpose. Now, we must apply this final and most crucial element of detachment to your own ambition. You must learn to separate your work from its fruits, your action from its results. You must learn to separate your effort from the outcome. This is the key to becoming immune to both the poison of failure and the poison of success. Your relationship with your own goals is a source of constant suffering. Why? Because you have fused your self-worth to the outcome. You believe that if you achieve your goal, you are a success. And if you do not, you are a failure. This is a trap. It is a sucker's bet. The outcome of any meaningful endeavor is never fully in your control. It is a complex cocktail of your hard work, which you can control, and 1,000 external variables that you cannot: luck, timing, the actions of your competitors, the mood of the market, the whims of the world. To bet your sense of self-worth on the outcome is to bet on the part of the equation that you have no command over. It is a recipe for a life of wild emotional volatility, of soaring highs and crushing lows. It is the amateur's game. The professional plays a different game. It's not about not wanting to win, it's about redefining the win. Let us go to the archery range to understand this. The amateur archer steps up to the line. Her entire world, her entire sense of self in that moment, is focused on the bullseye. Hitting the target is the only definition of success. She draws the bow, aims, and releases. At that exact moment, a sudden, unpredictable gust of wind, an external factor, completely outside of her control, blows through the range. The arrow is pushed an inch to the left, and it misses the bullseye. In the mind of the amateur, she has failed. She is filled with frustration, anger, and self-criticism. Her mood is ruined. The external event, the wind, has been allowed to determine her internal state. Now, let us watch the master archer. She steps up to the same line. But her focus is different. The target is merely a point of aim. It is not the goal. The goal, the only goal, is to execute the process with perfection. Her entire universe of concentration is inside her own circle of control. Her focus is on her stance, solid and grounded. Her focus is on her grip, firm but not tense. Her focus is on the steady, smooth drawing of the bowstring. Her focus is on her breathing, calm and controlled. Her focus is on the clean, surprising release. She executes every step of this process with absolute precision. She releases the arrow. The same, sudden gust of wind appears. The arrow is pushed an inch to the left. It misses the bullseye. But in the mind of the master, she has succeeded. Why? Because her definition of success was never hit the target. It was execute the perfect shot. She did her part. She did the work that was within her kingdom. The wind did the rest. She is not frustrated. She is not angry. She is at peace. She is ready for the next shot. That's the key. This is the discipline you must now bring to your own life's work. You must surgically separate your effort from the outcome. First, you will redefine victory. For any goal you have, you will clearly define what a perfect effort looks like. What are the controllable, process-based actions you are responsible for? If you are a writer, your victory is not a book deal, it is writing your 500 words for the day. If you are an entrepreneur, your victory is not $1 million valuation, it is making your 10 sales calls for the day. If you are an athlete, your victory is not the gold medal, it is completing today's training with full integrity. Second, you will transfer your ego. You must consciously and deliberately unhook your sense of self-worth from the outcome and rehook it to your effort. Your pride will no longer come from the world's applause. It will come from the quiet, internal knowledge that you did the work you said you would do. At the end of each day, you will judge yourself on one metric and one metric only. Did I execute my process with full effort and integrity? If the answer is yes, you are a success. It does not matter if the world gave you the result you wanted. It is irrelevant. You have a choice. You can be a slave to the fickle and unpredictable judgment of outcomes. Or you can be the master and judge of your own consistent, disciplined effort. Own your effort. The outcome is not yours to own. This is the ultimate way to win, even when you lose. You become immune to the pain of failure, because an external result no longer has the power to define you as a failure. You also become immune to the arrogance of success. If you achieve a great victory, you will know that your perfect effort was only one part of the equation, and that the uncontrollable forces of luck and timing were also at play. This will keep you humble. Own your effort. The outcome is not yours to own. This is the final tactical piece of the Law of Detachment. It is the ultimate expression of living within your circle of control. This practice, of anchoring your internal state to your own disciplined process rather than the chaotic results of the external world, will forge a new kind of character within you. When others are thrown into chaos by a sudden defeat, or made arrogant by a sudden victory, you will remain steady, unmoved, anchored to your work. You will become a source of stability in a volatile world. You will become the calm center. That is your new identity. That is our work in Chapter 9, Become the Unmoved Mover. Chapter 9, Become the Unmoved Mover. You have done the work. You have learned to detach your sense of self from the chaos of your imagination, the weight of your expectations, and the unpredictable outcomes of your efforts. You have anchored your definition of success to the one and only thing you truly own, your own disciplined action. This daily practice has not just been changing what you do. It has been changing who you are. It has been forging a new character within you, a new center of gravity. This chapter is about claiming that new identity. It is about understanding the profound power you now possess. It is time for you to become the unmoved mover. The world is divided into two types of people, leaves and rocks. The vast majority of humanity lives as leaves in the wind. Their internal state, their happiness, their sense of peace, is entirely determined by external forces. A gust of good news, a bit of praise, a moment of luck, and they are sent soaring into the sky, filled with elation. A gust of bad news, a word of criticism, an unexpected setback, and they are sent tumbling to the ground, crushed and broken. The leaf has no internal stability. It is a slave to the weather of the world. But you are not a leaf. Through the hard, quiet, and deliberate work of detachment, you are becoming a rock. The rock feels the same wind. It is battered by the same storm. It feels the heat of the sun and the cold of the rain. But it does not move. Its stability is not dependent on the weather. Its stability is internal. It is a product of its own mass, its own gravity, its own unshakable foundation. It's not about being emotionless, it's about being anchored. The rock is not numb. It simply understands that the storm is a passing event, and its own nature is a permanent truth. Let us watch this principle in the arena of maximum chaos, a financial market crash. The leaves are in a panic. The numbers on the screen are red. The news is filled with stories of disaster. Their emotions are hijacked by the collective fear. They see the storm, and they become the storm. Driven by a primal terror of loss, they sell their assets at the bottom, locking in their defeat. They are scattered and broken by the wind. Now, let us watch the rock. The unmoved mover. She sees the exact same red numbers. She feels the exact same biological jolt of fear in her gut. She is not a robot. But her training, her discipline, takes over. She is not ruled by that fear. In a moment of calm, long before the storm, she created a logical, pre-decided strategy. Her actions are not dictated by the panic in the air. They are dictated by her system. While the leaves are being thrown about in chaos, the rock is still. Because she is not moved by the storm, she can see the storm with perfect clarity. She might do nothing, calmly sticking to her long-term plan. She might even see the panic of others as a rare opportunity, buying valuable assets at a deep discount from the fearful. In either case, her actions are deliberate, strategic, and sourced from a place of internal calm. The leaves were victims of the chaos. The rock used the chaos. Her detachment did not make her weak, it made her powerful. That's the key. This is the identity you are now stepping into. Your detachment is not a retreat from the world. It is a platform of stability from which you can engage with the world more effectively than anyone else. And this stability becomes a source of strength not just for you, but for everyone around you. In a moment of family crisis, in a moment of panic at work, people do not look to the most emotional person in the room. They do not look to the leaf that is spinning in the wind. They look for the rock. They look for the calm center. They look for the person who is not hijacked by fear, who can think clearly, and who can act with purpose. This will become your new role. It is not one you ask for. It is one that will be given to you, because your presence will demand it. You have a choice. You can continue to be another leaf, adding to the chaos and anxiety of the world. Or you can become an anchor of calm, a source of stability and strength for your family, your team, and your community. You don't need their permission to be the most powerful person in the room. And the most powerful person is always the calmest. Be the rock, not the leaf in the wind. This is your new identity. You will feel the same emotions as everyone else. You will feel the fear, the anger, the disappointment. But these feelings will no longer be your master. They will be data. They will be weather. You will acknowledge them, you will observe them, and then you will act according to your purpose and your discipline, not according to the storm. Be the rock, not the leaf in the wind. This is the ultimate power that detachment gives you in your relationship with the world. It allows you to move through the chaos with a quiet, unshakable peace. It makes you a leader. It makes you unbreakable. But there is one final, more profound, and more personal freedom that this path unlocks. A freedom that goes beyond your relationship with the world. A freedom that is found in your relationship with yourself. It is the freedom that comes not from mastering the world, but from mastering your own desires. That is the final destination. That is our work in Chapter 10, The Freedom of Wanting Nothing. Chapter 10, The Freedom of Wanting Nothing. You have reached the final stage. You have journeyed from the chaotic prison of your own mind to the quiet, unshakable foundation of the rock. You have learned the tactics of detachment. You have claimed the identity of the unmoved mover. You can now stand in the heart of any storm and remain at peace. This is the pinnacle of strength in relation to the world. But there is one final, more profound liberation. A freedom that is not found in your relationship with the world, but in your relationship with yourself. You have been taught that the goal of all this effort, all this discipline, is to finally get what you want. A successful career. A peaceful relationship. A strong mind. This is the final illusion we must now shatter. The ultimate state of detachment is not about getting what you want. It is about freeing yourself from the wanting. You are living on a treadmill. It is called the hedonic treadmill. Your entire life, you have been running, convinced that happiness is just one more achievement away. When I get that promotion, then I will be content. When I finally make that much money, then I can relax. When I achieve this one last goal, then I will be at peace. And what happens when you get there? For a brief, fleeting moment, you feel a sense of satisfaction. And then, the treadmill resets. The finish line moves. A new desire appears on the horizon. and you are running again. This is the default state of humanity. A state of perpetual, self-inflicted lack. You are a slave, not to any external master, but to the endless tyranny of your own desires. The constant state of wanting is the root of all your anxiety. It is a declaration to the universe that what you have, and who you are, right now, is not enough. It's not about a lack of ambition, it's about the discipline to end your addiction to the chase. Let us look at the final transformation. The endgame of the practitioner. The old you, the chaser, operates from a place of deficit. You work hard, you strive, you push, all fueled by the desperate belief that the prize at the end will finally fill the emptiness inside of you. Your peace is a hostage. Your happiness is a conditional state, entirely dependent on a future event that is outside of your complete control. Now, let us look at the new you. The liberated. You still have goals. You still have a purpose. You still work hard, with a discipline that is sharper than ever before. From the outside, you look the same. But on the inside, everything has changed. You are no longer working to achieve a state of peace. You are working from a state of peace. You have detached your inner well-being from the external outcome. You will give your full, perfect, and professional effort to achieve your goal. But if, after all that effort, you fail, your inner peace will not be disturbed. And if you succeed, your inner peace will not be substantially increased. Your happiness, your contentment, your sense of being whole, is no longer a variable that is dependent on the chaotic results of the world. It is a constant. It is generated from within. It is a product of your commitment to your code, to your purpose, to the effort itself. And because it is generated from within, it can never be taken away from you. That's the key. This is the discipline of contentment. It is not a passive state. It is an active, daily practice. You will practice it with gratitude. The ultimate antidote to the poison of amour is a deep, visceral appreciation for what you already have. You will use the art of negative visualization not just to build resilience, but to see the profound and miraculous treasure of your own ordinary life. You will practice it by loving your fate. The Stoics had a term for this, amor fati, the love of fate. You will not just accept what happens. You will embrace it. You will love it. If you succeed, good. If you fail, good. If the world gives you what you want, good. If it gives you the opposite, good. Both are part of your path. Both are material. Both can be used. You have a choice. You can fight a constant, losing war with reality, or you can choose to love whatever reality brings. And you will practice it by defining your enough. The world will scream at you, forever, that you need more. A bigger house. A better title. More money. More validation. You must have the strength and the wisdom to define your own finish line. To know what is truly important to you, and to have the courage to say, this is enough. The person who needs nothing has everything. This is the ultimate freedom. This is the final destination of the path of detachment. It is a state of psychological invincibility. When you want for nothing, you are free to enjoy everything. When you are not afraid of loss, you are free to love completely. When your happiness is not on the line, you are free to take on the greatest challenges without fear. You began this journey as a prisoner, a leaf in the wind, a slave to your own emotions and desires. You learned to draw the circle of your control. You learned to be the rock, the unmoved mover. And now, you have learned the final truth. True power is not the ability to get everything you want. True power is the ability to be at peace, even if you get nothing you want. The person who needs nothing has everything. This is the end of the lesson. This is the beginning of your free life. You came here a prisoner. A prisoner in a jail of your own making. You were chained to outcomes you could not control, a slave to the opinions of others, and tortured by the ghosts of your own imagination. You leave here with the key. You leave knowing where your true kingdom lies, within the small, sacred circle of your own choices. You leave understanding that indifference is not weakness, but a shield. You now know that your effort is the only thing you truly own, and that your peace is found not in controlling the world, but in mastering yourself. The world will continue to play its chaotic game, trying to pull you into its storms of anxiety and rage. You have a choice. You can return to your cell, or you can walk free. This is your first act of liberation. Think of the one thing you are worrying about most in this exact moment. The thing that is completely outside of your control. See it clearly in your mind. Now, in the silence that follows my voice, make the conscious choice to let it go. That is your first taste of freedom. The training starts now.